It's Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever. Save up to $500 on our best brands when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend $699. Or save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets. Shop America's best brands confidently with our low price guarantee. Hurry into Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Not at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
For confidence in your financial plan, look for a CFP professional. When your financial advisor earns the CFP certification, it means he or she is trained to provide ethical financial planning across a holistic range of topics, from retirement and investing to taxes and estate planning, all in your best interest. So, with a CFP professional, you'll feel confident in your financial plan today and tomorrow. 3 letters do make a difference. Visit letsmakeaplan.org to find your CFP professional.
Happily Ever After, Uncensored, coming up on the Fraudcast.
You are now tuned into the Fraudcast, the Deep Dish 90-day podcast. Put them to diving so you don't have to. Addressing the mess behind the eye do. You are now tuned into the Fraudcast.
Hi, welcome to the Fraudcast. Today we have a very special episode for you. We have the lovely ladies of thedip.com, right? Which is Ward and Allison Piwowarski. I totally butchered your last name, didn't I?
Honestly, we're very close.
Okay.
And I'm very used to it. So
I'm so sorry. I feel bad. Because you guys are like my editors and stuff too.
Don't be.
And I feel like, so for those of you guys who don't know, the Dip, I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yeah. So we are a brand new female-founded site. We launched about 6 months ago, so we're still very, very new. But Allison and myself previously came from Bustle Digital Group, and my co-founder as well. So if you've heard of sites like Bustle, Elite Daily, Romper, the Zoe Report, a smattering of sites, we were in charge of those. And then we decided that we really missed building things, and we really felt attached to our past with pop culture. So I come from a background at EW and was also just born and raised into loving entertainment, much like I know Allison was as well. And so I felt like kind of returning to the pop culture roots of things. And so we launched a site that is super consumer focused. It's subscription based, so it's ad free. So you don't have to deal with bunch of messiness on your page. And we have, community there and a bunch of really interesting conversations and everything. And we'll continue to build it out, obviously, as we grow, but we also have podcasts too. So Allison and I host 2 podcasts. One is TV Watch Repeat, which is a TV origin story podcast. And Katrina, you were on that a few weeks ago to talk about 90 Day Fiance. It was an awesome episode. So everybody should check that out.
I love that podcast anyway.
Thank you.
I love revisiting some of these older, TV shows that you guys just did one on Law and Order.
Oh, Law and Order.
You did Rock of Love, Law and Order.
Little different.
You cover the basis. You cover all of it. But you did Sex in the City. You guys cover all of it. And I love going back and revisiting some of these earlier episodes, these TV shows that I love, that maybe I haven't thought about in a while. Didn't you guys do Happy Endings?
Happy Endings, yeah. And we learned so much from it too. We do all this research into the past of it, and it's so interesting hearing how these things were made and what happens to them, after they're even off the air. So, so that's been a really fun one for us. And we also have a daily pop culture podcast called Pop Chaser, in which we kind of talk about the headlines of the day. And Alice and I just sort of roast each other basically. And then we have 2 other podcasts, Hot Off the Mess and Slut Pig podcast. Yes. And thank you. And then we have too many at this point, and we're launching a RuPaul one shortly as well. So,
oh my God.
So we have a lot going on in audio that people can check out as well. So that's us. Allison, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I think that's it. And like Kate said, we have a lot of cool features on the site where people can participate in the community that makes it feel a little bit more well-rounded and allows people to interact with us as well as other readers, which is, I think, rare. It's like Twitter, but way more fun and not like as toxic. So I always encourage people to come check it out. And like, all you got to do is just talk about your favorite TV shows with people that are like-minded and love it just as much as you. So it is a really fun place to come and hang out and be a pop culture lover.
And you guys have a lot of content based on for 90 Day Fiance. You have a lot of regular writers that do a lot of stuff. I have done some freelance stuff for you guys on it. And but your regular writers are fantastic, and you can get all like the daily up to date like fun stuff on it. And so they have they're joining us today, and we're going to talk about Happily Ever After. And also Hanakawa is back.
Wow. Where have I been?
I don't know. You tell us. Were you like in a bunker somewhere?
Outer space. Yeah, let's stick with that.
Ooh, with all the UFOs, you got to tell us what's going on up there.
I've actually been secretly tortured by my boss. She had me captive. I'm back though.
Welcome back. Yeah, we had a guest host fill in for her. So I'm excited to have her back. I'm excited to have you guys on, and let's talk Happily Ever After. So this is season 6. Now we are people who are like in the weeds of 90 Day all the time, right? Like we've been involved in the deep trenches of 90 Day Fiance forever, right? And you guys are fans, and you are involved in that. You like read about it, you watch all the shows. Like I don't know how you have time to watch all the TV that you guys do and record about it, but somehow I guess sleep isn't something you guys need. So you guys watch it, but from a different sort of perspective than we do. So I want to hear what you guys think.
We are, fans of 90, definitely not to the extent of that you guys are. You guys are incredible the way that you guys are able to deep dive into all this stuff. But watching this season, and it's interesting looking back to the first, we watched the first season when we did our podcast with you, Katrina, looking back for TV Watch Repeat. And first of all, I think my walk away watching this season is that I do feel like things are getting more and more scripted in a way that it wasn't as, early on. Obviously there's always some element of scripting, but I think some of the stuff with like Libby's family and everything has almost gotten like out of control. And number 2, I don't think any of these couples are meant to be together at all. And it's just kind of, honestly, this season is a little depressing because of that, where I feel like there's so many people to dislike this season, and I don't know which one I dislike more. And usually I feel like there's something for me to hold on to. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion though.
No, that sort of tracks along with what people are. A lot of people are saying it's really boring.
Yeah.
A lot of these couples we literally just saw like 5 minutes ago on their season. So it's like, we get really tired of them by the end of the season, and it's like, we need a break from them. And there's a sort of, at least I have seen a general sentiment about consistently bringing back couples over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's like, bring us fresh couples. One of the reasons why I liked season 8 of 90 Day Fiance so much was because there were fresh couples on it, right? Like I wasn't a huge fan of the retreads that we saw out there. I really liked seeing the new couples, Brandon and Julia and Yara and Jovi and whatnot. And then now we're seeing them again immediately. And it's like, okay, no, but I get why Happily Ever After exists. It's for that. It's to continue their stories, but okay, I don't need to see them. And what you said about Libby's family is really interesting to me, because their shit is completely scripted. It's been scripted from the beginning. So yeah, I mean, they all get along just fine.
I thought the $100,000 ask was a little much. So I understand that fight.
I know, but they act like it's a mafia family. Like they're sitting on millions, and being part of the family business is going to get you, rocket you into stardom and richness. And the way they're clawing over a few $100s means that they don't have any money.
Right.
So it's like, if she's like, I keep forgetting Libby's sister. Is it Elizabeth?
Becky?
I can't remember.
The one who didn't want to split the
The realtor commission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one she went like crazy over it. Like,
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, yeah.
Do you sell any other houses?
Right.
Because you look really desperate right now.
Becky is she's the real estate agent for their sort of house flipping operation. So she gets all the listings. She buys and sells the houses. They need a licensed real estate agent to do this, right? So now Andre is also one of those. And then they act like he didn't do this for the exact purpose of joining the family business and having another realtor. I do want to correct something I said on an earlier episode, though. So I said it was really difficult to get a Florida real estate license. I have a friend who pointed out to me some classes on Groupon for like super, super cheap. So there are apparently ways to do this that isn't very difficult taking all these classes and stuff. There are apparently workarounds that are really cheap. And I don't know how Andre got his, but I just wanted to correct that. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not a fan of Andre, right? Like I watched his season 5, right? With his first season with Libby, and I thought he was pretty abhorrent. But I gotta say, in this, like in the whole fight between him and Libby's family, I hate that I'm almost like, I mean, of course, again, like it's all scripted, but I hate that I am like kind of siding with him, where I want to say like, you know, Chuck, like, why aren't you establishing what the purpose of bringing him here in the first place is? Like, why is it that you bring him here? He thinks he's getting the listing and suddenly it's this big fight breaking out. Like, that doesn't mean like Andre is sketchy and trying to get in front of all this money. It means that Chuck needs to do a much better job of actually explaining the you know, what their family business is to this guy.
Yeah. I mean, Chuck is really good at like bringing everybody together so they can start fighting. I use air quotes, and then walking out.
Yeah.
I think he's really good at that.
He just does like the Homer Simpson, like back into bushes.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not even here. Yeah.
Stirs the pot and then runs.
Stirs the pot
Like what
and
they
then
should have
runs.
done, right? And this is probably the project manager speaking, is established where he was going to fit in the roles for everyone. Like, you brought him on board to shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Let him know what the hell you want him to do. They're like making him look stupid. Like, oh, you expected to actually do something here. We just need you to fix doors.
Right, exactly. And it's like, well, why even bring him in the first place? And I do think also the way that everybody in this show throws their spouse under the bus for their family, like it really upsets me. Like, even seeing the way, like, Libby always negs Andre too at this point in front of the family. And, you know, even saw it with like, you know, Mike, when he's talking to his mom, and the way that they're talking about Natalie. And I'm not saying Natalie's great by any means. I mean, they're all terrible, but like, it's just like, oh my God, like all these like mama's boys too just need to get out of that. I can't take it. His comment with her when he says something about like how, you know, I told my mom like that, you know, Natalie feels like she hates her. And my mom just says, well, how can I hate her? I don't even know her. So I guess she's right. And I'm like, that is absolutely the most like passive aggressive thing for the mother to say. And for him to not pick up on that and to just basically be like, yeah, she just doesn't know you, Natalie. It's, oh my God, I was so angered.
Well, let's move on. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about Mike and Natalie. Mike of the aliens.
Oh my God, the alien.
So we've seen them now for multiple seasons. It was like we saw their season and then they disappeared for a while, although they did pop up we saw their airport. We had airport sightings of them when Natalie came to the United States, and we just, you know, oh, they're filming and da da da. And then all of a sudden now they're back and they're in our faces all the time. Mm-hmm. So people who were, we asked for this, right? Like we were wondering what happened to them, and now TLC.
Now we get it.
Yeah. And they're just so depressing to watch. And I just said the mother thing, it's like, again, like also like Natalie's a vegetarian, and that's like the big problem where it's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like go out of my way to help her out or whatever. It's not that crazy that you're going to have a vegetarian option at dinner. Like, it's not that crazy. And the way that they speak about her is wild to me. So I'm always tending to be on Natalie's side just because she is so like in this world, which she doesn't necessarily feel like she belongs and nobody's supporting her. Now, granted, they're both toxic and they should definitely just not be together.
Right.
Who should have apologized at the dinner when he said that she was harsh, and that's basically why she hasn't been introduced to any of his friends. And then she apologized to him, and then she made the comment of like, well, maybe your friends shouldn't send nude photos to you. And then he stormed out, threw a tantrum, and then she went up to him and apologized. And I was like, girl, like, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But she had to get it out of the way.
She keeps bringing things up that happened in the past. You know, they tell you in, I don't know, somewhere, books,
conflict
counseling,
management, somewhere.
not to bring up things you've already resolved.
Yeah.
And so when you have a fight with your husband, you're like, hold on, let me go get the trailer. Shit, I yelled at you already for, and start slamming it at him. Like, was he wrong to just leave? Yes. Like,
that's not,
he literally just went home.
That's
I'm
not
like,
good conflict management.
I'm so confused. What? How much time has passed?
Yeah, the conflict management. Well, speaking of time, I was thinking about that when I was watching last Sunday's episode, and when Angela was finally going into her surgery, and she got to LA in the first episode, and she was like, my surgery's in 2 days. And I'm like, how long is this dragging on for?
They're really trying to make a story. Yeah.
Days?
They're trying. Yeah. They don't have any other content for her because Michael's not here. Right. So they're just trying to give it the Angela show.
Right? And I will say, like, I enjoy the Angela show. Like, she is somebody who knows how to turn it on, but I was like, my jaw was on the ground when she said that. And I was like, I must have like pressed just like I must have not been thinking. And then I was like, no, I'm right. I'm accurate. This is accurate. It's been 2 days.
Do you know if Michael is going to come back by the end of the season or the whole season he's out?
We don't know. Because
that would be an interesting casting choice. If he's not coming back, that would seem like why would they choose them then?
Right.
Because they bring in views. People will watch Angela just be Angela for a half an hour.
Well, and like when they brought her back one of the seasons the season where Michael ended up getting his visa denied, they didn't know that was going to happen. So I think my sources had told me at the time that they were hoping that he would get here. And when he didn't, then, they had to figure out what else. Yeah. And we don't, so then they kept bringing him on and on. Right. So, and bringing Angela over there and doing all of this other stuff. But like Hanakawa said, yeah, she brings in views. We don't know if he's going to get the spousal visa. I don't know where they are in the process of applying for it, but now with changes in immigration policy, he may have a better chance. Now, I don't know, and I'm not getting political. It's just that the policies are changing and he was denied based on fraud, allegations or thoughts or whatever. And so, I mean, it totally depends, I think.
Do you think they're in it for the long haul?
Their marriage?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I go back and forth with them because I think Michael really loves her. Like, I think it started as not really love, but then like it became love. Like he found somebody he could tolerate, and then he ended up like actually like falling for her in a certain way. Like he can put up with her on the limited basis that he has to. Like he puts up with her on the phone and stuff. He doesn't have to see her that much. He does whatever. He goes and gets the BJ for real and all of whatever else he's doing. And then, he has to, be the loving and supportive husband, but he does seem like he really loves her. So I'm wondering, like, if they ever do get to spend time together, like, will he be able to put up with her for the long haul, or is he in it till she dies? And then, or like what, or is he going to just get his green card and bounce? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely a big personality to have to be with, all the time.
Yeah, but it seems like she calls, he answers.
That's true. Yeah, he is at her beck and call.
So
that's
if he can handle like that, I think he'll probably be fine. I think she'll probably calm down once he's there, and she can see what he's doing every day, every hour and every day.
I think she overall has a better attitude towards the marriage than somebody like a Nicole did, right? Like somebody who feels like, the person's not there at all. And like, what is he doing and all this kind of stuff. Whereas it seems like Angela's just fine in this situation. I mean, I think she would prefer him to be there, but like, she seems to be managing pretty well on her own. And again, having that independence to be able to get the surgery and do things that she wants to do. It's almost like watching her in these last few episodes and everything. It almost feels like she's like thriving getting into this new experience, like being able to get the surgery, doing the things she wants to do while her husband is miles away somewhere else.
While also they kind of smoking.
Right. Yes. Oh my God. Well, and they
were like,
seriously,
switch, please. Yeah, they did.
Because now, Michael's concerned about her feeling her new self and going out and possibly being
picked up on,
non-faithful and getting picked up on. But he was kind of on the flip side. I don't know. They're just flipping the scripts this time.
I loved that scene with like her surgeon when he was like FaceTiming with him, and he's like, just not too small. Just that I don't want him too small.
Such a man. Such a man.
Goodness. She's like, say goodbye to the boobies. And I'm like,
oh, that was great. It was just a black screen though. Cause she get it so close to her teacher.
And he was like, waving. It's not that bad. It's like doctors can they can't really tell. Like I've had a reduction myself. And so when he's like, I was just going to take a pound off each and someone's thinking like, wow, a whole pound. I'm like,
it's not that much. Really.
It's not that much. Trust me. You still fill a cup when you're done. So don't worry. And I'm pretty sure Angela will hit up some KFC place to balance things out. So they'll just come back in a different form. So
I loved how I know it was for television, but I just love how she tells everybody, Uber drivers, everyone, what she's like her plan for life in LA.
Right.
Like this poor woman. And I'm maybe she was a PA that they like brought in to just like drive her from the airport, but she's just like, oh, well, what brings you here? And I mean, she's like, oh, I'm getting surgery. Hey, mind if I make a quick call? And then has like the most public personal phone call ever in the back
always.
of this van. I loved it.
Yes.
Always. She's always talking very loud in public places, the the doctor's office, kids' school.
There's nothing quiet about Angela. I mean,
no.
From her voice to her sunglasses, like nothing is quiet.
Those sunglasses. Oh yeah. I mean, and she is unapologetically her, and she's getting this surgery, and she's getting all she had like a vaginal rejuvenation in one episode, like not on camera, like we knew it from her other stuff or whatever, like in a couple seasons ago, and she's getting like laser treatment on her chest and her face and all these things, and it's like, I'm like, you go girl, like get it all. And she's doing it despite her husband going, no, I don't really, what. And she's like, I want to do what I want to do. And when it comes to plastic surgery and weight loss surgery and things like that, like I'm like, you go girl, like it's her body, let her do what makes her feel good, right? You know?
Exactly. And that's what she wants, to feel confident. And I really like appreciated her saying that and not kind of like pulling back or anything when Michael was giving her a tough time for it.
Yeah, it was just like, it was almost non-negotiable. Like usually in these scenes you would have, that becomes a whole plot line in itself, is like, okay, well, the husband doesn't want it. So now we're going to spend a whole episode trying to figure out whether I should do it or not. And the fact that
we're going to just spend 4 episodes of her in an Uber in Beverly Hills.
Right.
Oh, I can't believe she did lie to the doctor about smoking, though. That's the one.
Oh my God, I know.
With the cigarettes in her bra.
In her bra.
Like, you wonder what's your responsibility as a cameraman at that point? Like, are you like, wait, maybe I should actually tell them that she did.
Like.
All right, Hanakawa, I'm going to stop you right there for a second, because I want to take a few minutes to talk about our latest sponsor, Green Chef. And I brought Hetero Life Mate here to talk about it because he gets to enjoy the fruits of my labor when I cook with Green Chef.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We've done these meal kits before in the past, and I can say, first and foremost, what's the most important thing for us with these things? Ingredients that are pre-measured. Right. They put it all out there for you. It's impossible to make a mistake, right? While you're making this stuff.
Which is important for me.
Right. Exactly. So all the vegetables, everything's pre-prepped. Really, you just kind of open the bag and you just kind of get to it, right?
Right.
So that's what I've noticed, like when you're in the kitchen working on this stuff, is you're not having to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours in the kitchen making dinner for the family. You can usually get it done a lot quicker than that.
And I look like a professional too.
You do. Plus, you've been working out. I know you mentioned that on the show quite a bit. So you've changed the food that you're taking in.
And that I'm feeding you guys.
Yeah. So you're eating healthier, which by extension means I'm eating healthier. And Green Chef does a lot of that. I mean, they give you the type of food that you're looking for.
Exactly.
To count your macros and all that other stuff that you do.
Right. But you guys also really enjoy it too. What did you think of that blackened tilapia that I made?
The blackened tilapia was good. See, the thing is, we love eating seafood, right? and we like to usually go out and eat seafood. Anytime we can make seafood at home, it's fantastic. The thing is, what do you do with it? If you buy a whole fish from the store, who's gonna scale it? I'm not. You're not. So then you buy like the planks and you try to do it, and it never, it tastes okay. But the blackened tilapia that we got from these guys,
really good.
Yeah. The blackened tilapia. If you guys decide to try Green Chef blackened tilapia, highly recommended.
Yeah, it's pretty much mistake proof, which is again really important for me.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier, and with the kids enjoy it. They don't even notice that they're eating healthier. They just know that mommy or stepmommy is in the kitchen, and the food that we get on the plate, they're willing to eat it. So that if you can get the endorsement from the 12-year-old, doing something right.
Exactly. And if you want to enjoy Green Chef, you can go to greenchef.com/90fraudcast and use code 90fraudcast to get $90 off, including free shipping.
I gotta say, I'm so happy that they're sponsoring the Fraudcast because, we've been able to enjoy these meals and they've turned us onto them. We see no reason why to go with any other meal prep service. Green Chef is the place to go.
Again, go to greenchef.com/90fraudcast. Use code 90fraudcast for $90 off, including free shipping. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
All right. So, let's take a moment for some real talk. We're in a pandemic now. I think we've been in it for like a year, actually almost to the day. Mm-hmm. How are you? Like, what's, how are you doing? What's interfering with your happiness?
The biggest thing that I've been dealing with in the pandemic, particularly early on, but still now, is anxiety, which came out of the blue for me because anxiety is not one of my go-to issues. Other ones, yes, but anxiety, no. So I have actually had to take a step back and learn some new coping techniques and mechanisms to help me deal with anxiety.
Right. And I mean, even right now, seeking therapy is a normal thing, right? BetterHelp is a great because I don't like traditional brick and mortar therapy. It doesn't work for my schedule. Like, I don't want to have to drive to it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't feel comfortable in face-to-face. Like, I don't open up in face-to-face situations. So that's what's great about BetterHelp is because it's not a crisis line. It's a professional counseling service provided online, and it's secure. There's licensed professionals who specialize in a variety of issues, including depression. And what I can relate to the most is stress, especially anxiety, because I'm juggling work. I'm a teacher. I do, homeschooling for my son every day, even the weekends. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to establish some kind of work-life balance, in a pandemic. It's really hard.
When everybody's working from home and everybody's all up in your space.
Exactly. And, one thing that, for me, security, I feel like anything I share will be confidential.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if they're professional counselors, then you get the same kind of professionalism, but a much more convenient and even affordable way by doing it through BetterHelp. And we want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/fraudcast. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/fraudcast for 10% off your first month. Let's talk about Julia and Brandon. The thing about Julia this season is, so I'm very, very conflicted about her. This is how I felt, is because last season she was definitely like the victim and she's being forced to like shovel pig shit on the murder farm. And, the whole thing about the hot tub and the sleeping in separate rooms and like all of the stuff. Right. And then, we saw Brandon being a little weenie and like, oh, it's just a couple of cute animals. And she's like, fuck you, I'm going back Russia. And then this season, we see her kind of flip a little bit. We still see Brandon being a little weenie, But then she is also kind of flipped because we saw her at the tell-all where she was being kind of a judgmental asshole. And now we see her, and I go back and forth because I'm like, oh, she loves Vegas and she loves big city. And what did Brandon tell her about her, the expectations of when she came here? Does she have to live at the murder farm for the rest of her life? Or does she get to go to the big city of Richmond, which is not that big?
I loved that moment.
So
when she pulled up and like next to this itty bitty bridal boutique, and she's like, big city, here I am.
When she went down for the informational interview. Yeah. So tell me your thoughts on them.
So, I mean, I was definitely like you. I'm team Julia up until this episode. I feel like one of my biggest pet peeves are when, women, it sounds like Ramona Singer, when women don't support women, but when she was having the conversation with Brandon, and Brandon said, well, why don't you go hang out with my friend? And Julia's response to that is like, you never tell me you had a friend. And like, I don't trust women. Women are not trustworthy. They're going to just come after you. First of all, it's like, also is Brandon really the prize that you're, worried about? But also like, you should be worried about if he's going to be cheating on you, not whether this woman is going to be coming for him. And it's just a huge pet peeve. And I'm sure there's some cultural elements there, but that just really like rubbed me the wrong way. And then on top of sort of like, I don't know, at this point, feels like every scene is sort of the same. And I'm kind of like waning interest on that. I don't know, Allison, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I just like, don't think I don't think I'm like really gonna continue enjoying watching her shovel pig poop and feed the chickens and all of this and then complain about it. Like, that's just like what it is. I actually really did appreciate her informational interview in Richmond. I didn't mean to like bash on Richmond earlier, but
well, it's not the big city though. I mean,
right.
I lived there. It's great, but it's not a huge city.
Right. And so then I was kind of like, you know what, she's taking the steps that she needs. And I actually really kind of respected that. And I enjoyed watching her kind of talk about like, wow, I'm not with Brandon right now. Like, this is like new for me. And I was like, yes, follow this, do this. I don't know if it's going to actually take her to where she wants, but I mean, the two just have like, the communication is just wild. And per your point earlier, like Brandon being a little weenie, like, I think that's just who he is. We know this, we know him as a little weenie. So I kind of am just like, look, maybe they'll move to the big city. The Vegas thing blew my mind because when she was like, they've been there for like 5 minutes. She's like, you love it here. I love it here. We should just move here.
That was so scripted.
Right?
So scripted because they gave too much of the heading of, oh no, they'll go to Vegas and she'll want to stay there. And he's so, pussy whip that he'll stay there and buy a house while they're on vacation. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Next week, like it's super scripted too, because they meet up with that friend and the friend is like, remember we stayed up all night watching that movie, Brandon? And it's like, that's what I talk about with my friends. Like with my college dorm friends that I watched Napoleon Dynamite with. I'm like, remember we stayed up all night watching the movie?
like who even brings, and she's got like her boyfriend, I think, with her.
Yes. It's a double date.
It's ridiculous.
It's so weird.
But yeah, I mean,
how come I don't know about your past? I'm like,
right. I hope she can branch out. I mean, I think the best thing for them, obviously, would be to leave the farm and just to get their own place. It doesn't even have to be far, but like, I think that it's good. She's never going to be happy while they're living under his parents' roof. I don't know if he's ever going to be happy not living with his mother. But yeah, I think that like, if they want to last, and I don't know if that's like for the best, then they got to get out. They've got to get out. And I mean, hopefully she'll be able to pursue. I thought like, I mean, it was all very valid with what he was saying is like, I mean, I'm licensed here. We're staying here. But I mean, there's no reason that she can't like work at a bridal boutique or, start paying her dues. And she seems to be ready for that. But I don't know if she's just saying that, right. She's like, I want to start from the bottom. And I'm like, well, you're getting paid by TLC and right. That's not accurate, but okay.
But again, like the mother-son dynamics, like it's just, it's so like Ed Gein, like it feels so creepy at this point. Like they have to, like these men they have to separate from their mothers. It's too creepy.
Speaking of mother-son dynamics, I'm going to break from Happily Ever After for a minute and talk about Colty and his mother, Debbie, because we got Colty news today over the weekend. I'm not sure when it came out, but Colty has married Vanessa. So he revealed at the tell-all for the single life that he and Vanessa secretly got married in February. And I believe I saw it on Starcasm is like the independent verification that they actually did get married. So it's not just him saying it. Thoughts? Do you know? I mean, for you, I know you guys know Colty. So.
You can't not know Colty.
Have you guys ever seen, I know you've seen these movies where like there's two characters that are kids that grow up in high school, they're best friends. They both know each other, or like not really their goal end game, but they make a pact to like, hey, if nobody else wants us in life, we'll get married. I feel like this is Colt and Vanessa.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They both got to the end. She's like, look, I'm not going to be fertile anymore. And he's like, well, I guess I should go with what my mom will actually accept at this point. And boom.
Right. Well, plus what we know, how he kind of reveals this, like today, actually, right? He sits her down and says, meet wifey number 2. And like, I don't know that that's how I'd introduce my new wife to people. Wifey number 2, no name, no nothing, just she is the second one. It's like thing number 1, thing number 2, wifey number 2.
Right. Well, it's better than Garrick on Seeking Sister Wife, where he talks about large wife and small wife. So
that's right.
Like speaking of the mom stuff, like he didn't tell his mom about this. So like, I feel like, is this him just trying to set up a future episode for him to have a spinoff for the fallout that surely is to come from that?
I don't think there's going to be any fallout, because I think that because Vanessa, so like when they introduced Vanessa couple seasons ago on like Happily Ever After or whatever, and then they were like, oh yeah, she's taking care of the cats. She'd actually been living there for quite a significant period of time. She and Colt had been like on and off, and they've been on and off since then, right? And so that's the only person Debbie has ever liked. So she and Debbie get along fantastically. So I think even if Colt surprised her, it was his like little burst of independence, right? Like, I'm going to do this without my mom, but there wasn't going to be any real fallout. There's no real risk for him because it's somebody that mom likes. So he gets to pretend like he's this big independent man when really there was absolutely no risk for him to do it.
Right. Oh, it's wild.
There's also speculation that she's pregnant because he wore a Papa Bear t-shirt.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then is that a spinoff? Colty as a dad.
Oh God.
Kate, let's stop trying to stop giving ideas.
I'm not trying to throw this out into the universe. Please, universe, don't catch this. Don't catch it.
Oh my God. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm thankful to Vanessa that she loves him enough to marry him. And now we don't have to be subjected to Colt dating anymore. Like we've been seeing on The Single Life, which we're covering over on our Patreon with, Miguel of 90 Day Fiance, I Want My Podcast. He's helping us cover that over on the Patreon if you're interested in hearing our thoughts on that. But we don't have to be subjected to Colty anymore, right? Like dating, at least.
Right.
The women of the world and the women of Las Vegas.
Rest easy tonight.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Discount Tire has just made tire shopping easier. Their touchless experience allows you to buy tires and book your appointment online. Then when you drive in, you can stay safely inside your car as the tires are installed. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
Who else do we have on Happily Ever After?
So I know Yara and Jovi.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. A 30-year-old man doesn't know about breastfeeding in public.
this is a man who goes and eats cheeseburgers at an all-you-can-eat buffet at a strip club and with boobies in his face.
Say no more.
Like, and he doesn't know that it's legal to have boobs.
He's like, is that legal? Is it legal? I'm like, what are you talking about? You're 30. You're not 12.
But he acts 12, right?
He does.
And then his mom even admitted it, right? At the tell-all. She was like, I want to just shake him because, you know, he's had a bachelor life. Why does he need a bachelor party? He's had a bachelor life for the last 7 years.
Right.
You know?
Do we know because I'm not caught up on what's ahead, but do we know what in the next episode, he says there's something that I need to tell Yara that is going to be very bad news. Do we know what that is?
No, but it's probably that, you know, his trip is 5 weeks,
right?
4 weeks, because you know the way TLC does big bad secrets, it's really generally not a big nothing burger.
Well, he said it was 2 months.
His next one, yeah, that kind of sucks. I mean, but she knew getting into it. Like,
that's fair.
You know,
I will say it's probably not good for like as that child grows. I do think that Yara probably should stop like negging him in front of the baby, like the way that she's sort of like, oh, daddy, you don't like daddy, do you? Or like, oh, daddy doesn't know what he's doing with you, does he?
But that is such a normal dynamic for a new mom. I will say this, like my kid is 17 now, right? So back when I was like in that phase, that newborn phase, and Hannah has been there much more recently than I have, but like, you see it with all of your mom friends, right? There's the moms who like don't want their, you know, they give the kid to their dad to get diapered and the diaper's on backwards and this and that. And they just want to have the control because they do it better. This is such a normal, common dynamic that I've seen. I was kind of forced into it because my baby daddy was in Korea when I had a newborn. So I didn't have to see it and stuff, but you know, that is something that all new parents have to navigate. I don't think that that's a Yara specific issue. I definitely was team Yara when, you know, they're at lunch and she's all worried about the baby. And he's like, you got to not worry about the baby. Like, dude, the baby's like 4 weeks old.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're out to lunch is wow. You know, you tried it.
At this point though, it's 4 days old, right?
Oh my God.
Is that right?
Yeah. Cause the mom was commenting on the couch that she was days old and she was shocked she was I mean, there's time dilation always happens in TLC, but
right.
I think she was like in her first week, like they just got home.
And what killed me was at that lunch when he also, or not at the lunch, I think it was after, maybe that lunch lasted like the full hour and a half of my Discovery Plus watch of it. But when she says like he was holding the baby and she started to slide off like out of his arms. And like, he was like, it's fine. Like, she's going to get hurt. She's a baby. And she was like, yeah, I'll be chill about it when she's like 6 months, not 6 hours old. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the way that he is talking is as if the baby is probably like 1 or 2 years old at this point, right? Like there probably is more of a precious time, right?
Right.
It's clear that she's
when a kid is learning to walk and falls over and bonks their butt when, you know, they're cruising along a coffee table is a different dynamic than when you're holding a baby, a newborn, and she slips out of my arms and drops onto the concrete or wherever.
Yeah.
No. That's not the same thing about babies.
He's like, oh no, we could just make another one, y'all.
He's trying to like antagonize her by being like helicopter mom, but really she's just being a mom to a newborn. And I love when she said, like, she was like, well, this is what happens when you become a mother. And
she's like, duh, you don't have nice moments.
Clicked for you yet, clearly.
Right. And like get used to not finishing a meal when you much less when you go out. Like, you know, we ate in shifts, like, you know, during that first year practically, because the baby always needed something. And the baby's timeline about wet diapers and crying and sleep and needing to eat and all that stuff didn't line up properly with our dinner time. Right. So if we wanted to eat, you know, you hand the baby off and you eat with one hand and you just get used to it. It's not going to last forever.
But he's like not thinking of that, like, cause he's so dead set on like, we didn't get our honeymoon phase. And he's like, I'm sleeping on the couch. And I'm like, bro, you have a child.
It's like a month old.
Yeah.
You just preloaded baby. Your honeymoon phase. Right. You're fine. But I mean, even this, he's like going to leave for a couple months. So a lot of his, you know, emotions are self-centered, but he's not thinking like, instead of saying, I'm going to miss so much, it's, I'm not going to be here to help.
Right.
You know, because Yara's going to have to do it by herself unless she invites mother-in-law over to, you know,
to judge her and tell her what she should and shouldn't do.
Well, that's what mother-in-laws are for, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, well, speaking of parents, I mean, where are you guys at on like the Kalani Asuelo page? Guys, I've never seen anything sadder than crying on staged furniture in a furniture store about like, that was rough. I was just like,
Oh, I mean, I go back and forth on this because so much of their story is scripted, but at the same time, so much of it like it's based off of reality, right? It's based off of who Asuelu is as a person, and you see in these, like when they were showing on Bearzall, and you see it sometimes on Discovery Plus or whatever, like these unscripted scenes where they're like sitting there and they're laughing and he's making his jokes, and you can see, okay, that's what attracted her to him to begin with. Like there's some funny there. He's a funny guy. He can be funny, but then at the same time, despite them both being from Samoa, they were raised completely differently. You know, she wasn't raised with the same values and patriarchal structure that he was raised in on the actual islands. So, you know, you put them together and they're, you know, you see glimpses of why they got together to begin with, but it's like, come on, girl, like you deserve better. Like your sister is a much better father to these kids than he is.
Thank God for her sister.
I have a question, and that is bringing someone pizza romantic? Because I could go both ways on this.
I would definitely. I'm sorry. Anytime you're going to bring me food, I don't care. That's a plus in my book.
Right. That's what I thought too. I was like, of course, there's romance there.
Yeah,
there's romance on his part, but I mean, like if he's just bringing it home and slamming it on the table. I brought you pizza for dinner.
It was the
and
leftover
then goes and plays video
or whatever.
games. Yeah.
Well, I actually thought that his meltdown felt actually unscripted to me compared to everything else. Because they were sitting there, they were having like kind of it was an awkward conversation about like sex and everything, but it was kind of like lighthearted and had like some funny elements. And then for him to just completely then just like break down, that felt real to me.
Yeah. That's why I said like
I feel like something was cut out too. Like, like the track skipped and all of a sudden he's like, why you keep bringing up your family? Like
I was just talking about role playing at sex. Like what?
Right.
I had to rewind because I was like, wait. How do we go from Cabana Boy to this?
Yeah. Well, because her point was my brother brings me pizza. So therefore it is not romantic.
Oh, right. So for her, that's not her love language. So
yes.
For me, if you were to bring me pizza, preferably cauliflower crust, vegetarian pizza with some protein, then add some protein on the side, you know, like that. If he did that, then I would be like, okay, I'm yours. Like, let's go.
It's a gift and act of service. So it's my perfect love languages too.
Food is my love language. So,
agreed.
You know, I'd be happy with that, but because what it does is it shows that he's thinking about her and her needs. And I think that's what she needs from him, is for him to understand her and think about her and her needs and to want to service those needs. And for her, bringing pizza to her was not going to do that, not going to fulfill that underlying issue. You know, she needs him to step up as a father. She needs him to not sleep in his video game room. She needs him to initiate sex, you know, when it's not, you know, the night for sex. I'm finished my video game. Well, I'm going to come in and boink you. And then I'm going to go back to my video game. You know, she needs more from him. And
no, she wants a relationship, and that like they don't have it.
Do you think she's expressing that to him?
Not at all. No. I mean, again, it comes back to like the communication is just like not there. And I'm like, I mean, I think that conversation about like reinvigorating their sex life, I was like, okay, at least they're talking, like, because the two of them, like you watch them talk about like, even just like in the beginning of the season when they were talking about like buying a home and stuff, like you could just tell they're just not on the same page. And I was waiting for that to happen. And I think look, I don't know if we're going to get there, like to that 100%, but I was like, at least you're having, and like you said, Gabe, it was a little awkward, but like, I'm like, at least you're talking, like it's progress, but I don't know. Like, I think the thing is like what he is like a big child, right? Like, and I think she feels some resentment towards that because she has to be like the adult in the relationship.
And like she said, you can't be, it's not romantic and sexual when you're mothering the person.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think that, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if any of that, I mean, nobody's communicating properly. I don't know why. So
but it also wouldn't be a good TV show if they were.
Right.
No, I don't want to watch
the main theme of the show is miscommunication. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to something that you said earlier, Kate, I think at the beginning is that, you know, none of these couples should be together. You deal with a lot, you're seeing a lot, throughout a lot of these couples, these men and their mothers but the bottom line is the spouse they're not supporting each other. Right. Like that is sort of the common theme, is that they're not backing up their spouse. They're not supporting their spouse. They're not doing what they need to support their spouse. And that kind of makes it sad for me, because it's like, there's nobody to root for, like you said. And it makes it like, I would be okay with these retreads of couples and seeing these couples if there was something I could root for, like, oh, there's a spark of hope. Let me, hope that but they're just not getting there. And it's like, okay, like, give me another, COVID's lifting, everything, people are getting vaccinated, people, if people can go back to filming, the visas are opening again. So you will have those stories to film. Like, let's get back to some fresh couples. Like, I want to go back to the days of season 2 of 90 Day Fiance, which is, I've mentioned everywhere I can, my absolute favorite season, right? Like, let's get back to like Muhammad and Danielle, that was unscripted, but such drama, right? Like, it was so entertaining to watch. I watched them on Happily Ever After for 2 seasons because it was entertaining. This Happily Ever After, I'm like, okay, no, this is just not doing it for me.
Yeah. You do want to root for someone. I mean, the only person I think I'm rooting for is like Tiffany's son.
Oh God. Yeah. Let's talk about
So
Tiffany
cute.
and Ronald.
Oh,
They were largely invisible from this last episode. I always find interesting which ones they kind of hide each episode.
Yeah. So are you team Ronald or team Tiffany here?
It's complicated, right? I think that I'm team Tiffany overall. But I could see how it's a complicated situation. Like, I don't know how this becomes something that you can actually live with on a regular basis. Like having the kids all in the US and you're in South Africa, it's tough.
But I mean, okay, so my heart automatically goes out to Ronald, even though he may be kind of a deadbeat in a lot of ways. The addict in me supports the addict in him, right? But I also, so she like just what appears to spring on him this, I've canceled the tickets, I'm not coming, you have to get your shit together and do it. It appears that she springs that on him. Now, what we don't know is if she's had this conversation with him before about, you need to step up, you need to step up, you need to step up. And if she finally hit her breaking point with it, it was just like, fuck it, I'm just canceling it all, get your shit together. If she didn't have those conversations with him, like, I'm totally team Ronald in that case, because it was sprung on him that suddenly, like, the expectations on him are different. And she's like, she had this whole conversation with imaginary Ronald in her head. And now she's taking it out on real Ronald, and he doesn't know what happened because he wasn't in those conversations, because she didn't really have them with him. She had him with imaginary Ronald. But if she did, in fact, have these conversations with him where she was telling him that she felt overwhelmed and that she's taking on the lion's share of the load and all this stuff, then I'd be team Tiffany. So I'm a little conflicted.
And especially because, it is a couple that we haven't seen very much from in the last episode. Like, have those conversations happen? And it's hard to pick a side when you don't know.
Right.
He is a good communicator. I actually respected him. Like, they had their moment of like heightened emotion on that Zoom call. or whatever it was when Daniel was showing him his messy bedroom and the headboard. But then he was like, he came down from it and was like, I hear you actually. And like, I appreciate that. And I was like, well, look at this. We've got somebody who's like able to take a step back for once. Cause I mean, everybody in these shows they're so hot-headed that they fly off the handle and there's no coming back. And I was actually kind of like, I was a little shocked by it. I was like, well, at least he can kind of like recognize and listen. I think that's like the key word here is like, he's actually listening to what she was saying. Like, I have paid for all of these tickets. What have you done? Like, do you hear what I'm doing? And he was like, I do actually. And I was like, well, look, I'm not saying this guy's a hero, but I appreciated it. But
it's
again,
like the bar is set so low on the
so
show.
low.
Like the bare minimum of what should be doing in a healthy conflict resolution way.
Right.
Is happening. And it's like, so let me ask you this. Like, if you guys were the marriage counselors for each of these couples, what's the one piece of advice you would give each of the couples? We'll start with Ronald and Tiffany.
Well, I would say Ronald, I think it's time that you pay for tickets for Daniel and Carly and Tiffany to come to South Africa. And you guys need to talk when you're together. That I think like that's just the next step. Okay. My advice for everybody is to separate.
It's time to call spades a spades. It's time to go.
Okay, Kate, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's the same thing like we were kind of talking about, like just like listen to one another. I also think that it's not a contest. And I think sometimes people treat it like a contest of like, I'm doing all these things. What are you doing? And they don't like some of maybe and I don't really know because I'm not in these relationships, but some of the softer sides of relationships can go a long way. Like if you are the emotional support, that might not be a tactical thing, but you might be giving a lot on an emotional side where another person might be doing a lot of like the fiscal responsibilities. So like being able to sort of understand it's not a contest and
keeping
back
score.
away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. And they are certainly keeping score. Yeah. I mean, I think the only people that I would really have different advice for is I think that like, we've got to get like Brandon and Julia, like I said earlier, out of that house. And then I want to see what happens. Like, that's the problem is, and to your point, Katrina, earlier, what you were saying is like, we just saw them. And then it's just a continuation. And sure, like I always do wonder what happens after, but I don't want to know what happens after when nothing has changed. So like, let's put a pin in it. Let's come back in a year when hopefully they've moved out. And then I want to check in with them and see what's going on when they've started to hopefully build a little bit of an independent life for themselves. But other than that, I mean, I'm going to tell Angela to not smoke cigarettes while her incisions are healing. That's my advice.
Easier said than done on that one, probably.
My God. I know.
Quitting smoking's hard. Like, but still, you got to do it for surgery. Like it's your health here,
Right. But I just love when she just was like, I can't stop thinking now about a cameraman, just like his eyes widening. Like, no. I mean, I just love that. But, yeah, I mean, that's probably for everybody else. I'm just like, maybe just like, let's move on. Let's move on.
Particularly Mike and Natalie.
Yeah, it's time for that one to end.
Needs to end. What was he saying about aliens?
He doesn't believe in God. He believes in aliens.
That's right. And I don't even remember how it came up, but it was like, she was just sitting there again, just like the cameraman in that Beverly Hills plastic surgeon's office, eyes wide. And she's just like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into?
She's talking about how important her religion is to her.
That's right. And then the energy thing. It was in that, I don't want to like start to backtrack too much, but when we were talking about scripted, that woman in the energy shop was unreal when she was asking about the rings. And she's like, so why didn't you get rings? Like, what took you so long?
And they always feed them some stupid thing to ask them.
Right.
It's like,
she started
I want you to start
when Natalie proposed.
Oh yeah, they do. They always feed him, and you see it. I mean, I don't know if this is just a Matt Sharp thing, but you see this quite frequently, and in much more egregiously on Love After Lockup, when they're getting the rings or in the furniture store. Oh yeah, I just got out of prison, or she, whatever. Like they, it's much bigger there, but you do see it with regularity on 90 Day as well. The furniture store. There's always some unsuspecting store clerk that has been fed all these lines. And we have seen it with Mike and Natalie multiple times. I look forward to seeing more. I'm hoping something actually happens with these people on Happily Ever After. I have not heard anything about any new seasons of any of the other iterations coming on, but that is not unusual because TLC likes to spring them on us.
There's going to be like 7 on Discovery Plus tomorrow after you said that.
Yeah, they have their whole separate 90 Day world, and they are starting to put stuff on there. Like there's like the 90 Day Caribbean is coming to that we predicted. That I think it was Hanakawa that predicted this because she had the intel, not predicted. She got the intel on this.
Oh, it's from because what's her name? Casting Becky,
right?
Casting Allison,
Brenda.
Thank you. I'm like,
it was work your way through them.
I'll work my way through all the names. But she always posts like the weirdest, like, are you in a long distance relationship with somebody in the East Coast and you're a supermodel with like
oddly specific
huge assets that likes money and is searching for a sugar daddy? I'm like, wait a minute. What show are we doing? It sounds like a Maury thing. Like at the end of Maury was like, do you know somebody?
Right.
That's exactly what her casting calls sound like.
Yeah. So she had done this one about a Caribbean store, long distance love. And that is coming to fruition. We're seeing that. That's going to be on Discovery Plus, I believe. I think there's some 90 Day Fiance in the kitchen that we're going to see.
Oh yeah. They're all.
What is that like?
Our favorites are like sharing their favorite recipes or something like that.
Which I think people only wanted to see from David and Annie because they.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I'll watch Annie
for sure.
And if she's cooking in bed, even better. That's my favorite.
If I can get those PJs on my screen while she's cooking something up, I'm done. Sold.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
And my understanding is the family Libby is finally getting their spinoff that they wanted.
Okay.
That they've been angling for. And that I probably will be on Discovery Plus. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming. But I just want like good old fashioned OG 90 Day of seasons 2, 3, whatever, if you guys are interested in my ranking of all of the seasons thus far, you can go to thedip.com. I have a link in my Instagram bio to that article. That was fun. I got to read
that. Was a really fun
so
one.
Good. And it's educational and great service.
It's a great, because
you need it. There's too many these days.
That's what I was going to say. When you say it in the article, but like, it is intimidating to start watching 90 Day because you have no idea where to start. Mm-hmm. And the problem is like you ask people and they're like, oh, watch season 3. You have to see the red makeup bag moment. Just watch season 3. But like technically if you watch, you should watch before the night. And you're just like, wait, what? So this is many. This is everything you need. And it is like the perfect guide to like, I want to start watching 90 Day. Guys, my dad semi-recently retired. Just started getting into 90 Day and he's obsessed with it now. So I was telling him this morning, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be on a podcast. And he's like, oh, well, let me know if you need me to call in because I've got a lot of thoughts.
Oh my God. I would love.
You just need like a 65-year-old man giving you his thoughts on Julia and Brandon and
I would
Mom
love
and Dad.
That. Let's bring Father Allison on. Yes.
I'm all for that.
Let's do it.
He's just like breezing through because we share a Discovery Plus account and I'm just watching these things. Just like my For You is just like, now it's the single life. He's really into the single life now. But
I mean, I am curious about a 60-year-old man's perspective of 90 Day Fiancé, to be honest. Like, you don't hear that quite often. So.
No, you don't.
No, this is just what's happening. This is where we're at.
Well, we definitely need to set that up. If you guys are interested in reading that article that we were talking about or any of the Dip's content, go to thedip.com and you can use code FRAUDEDBYFRIENDS for 20% off your subscription. That will all be linked down in the show notes. Tell everybody where they can find you guys, Allison.
Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, but Twitter is like my more like fun place. Instagram is just photos of my puppy, at Allison Piwo, Piwo. And yeah, we talk a lot about, I mean, I feel like Kate and I are like our Twitter accounts are very pop culture heavy, and we share a lot of our podcasts that we do also there. So, you know, you can subscribe to those on anywhere you listen to podcasts, but that's TV Watch Repeat is our history of pilots. And then Pop Chaser is our daily pop culture one. So you can listen to those and like and review every podcast you listen to because everybody appreciates it.
Absolutely. And again, those will be linked in the show notes. Kate?
I'm on Twitter at Kate Ward Bustle because I have a blue check mark and I'm going to lose it if I change my name. So I still
there. You just need to contact Twitter. We talk about this every single every single time.
I know. And then on Instagram, I'm at It's Kate Ward. And then, everywhere else that Allison said too. And there are 2 Allison Piwowarski, so be careful. Because I do tag the other one all the time.
You do?
I do. And then I remember and I have to go back and fix it.
Wow.
Awesome. And we know you guys know where you can find me and Hanakawa. And I just want to say a big thank you again for taking your time to join us on this. This has been a fun journey, and I would love to have you back on. And maybe Father Allison will join us on a further episode.
He would love it. I just would have to teach him how to connect to the internet.
The hardest hurdle.
Today I was I won't even I'll spare you guys the details. Just assume it's as bad as it could be when it comes to technology.
It's been always great doing these, Katrina, and you've been such an amazing supporter and ally, and so we really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, and for introducing. I've never watched Happily Ever After before, so this has been such a joy to dive into this week, and I can't wait to just keep going now. So I'm a very happy camper because I'm always looking for new shows to add to the arsenal. So.
Because you don't have enough TV to watch.
There's never enough. The limit does not exist.
And on a Mean Girls reference, we will end this. Thank you guys all for joining us. This is what the hell? How the hell do I end this show? See, you guys got me all. I have no idea. We are the Fraudcast. That's it, and we're dumpster diving, so you don't have to.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.